So, you just downloaded Unity with your big dreams of becoming a game developer. Then you went and opened Unity. Then you kind of just realized, yeah, you have no idea what you're doing. So then you came here. So, let's get started. So first, let's start off by going down, right-clicking over in this hierarchy, put a 3D object, add cube. Another way to do it is you just press the plus and then go down to 3D object and add a cube. So now, a good thing to do is resetting this just to keep everything good, because then you might later on screw up everything because you build everything around this and then you realize it's just a good thing to do. So you can either go through and put them all to 0, or you can just right click and press reset. There's also the 3 dots right here that you can reset it with. Alright, so let's just rename this to player, I guess. So now let's create a material. This is going to be so that we can change the color of the cube, because if you just go to the player, there's not really anything to change the color. What you do is you add a material. See this material? You can change the color of the material, and then you add it to the cube. So let's just call this player material, and let's just make the color gray. And then what you want to do is you drag it onto whatever object you want it on. So if I wanted to drag it onto my main thing right here, you drag it onto that, or like another object. So you just drag it onto the object that you want. So now when you change the color, now it'll change in real time. So let's just make it pink for fun. You can also change the smoothness over here and stuff. Metallic and smoothness. I'll just put it as that. Another good thing to do is make folders. So let's materials and like scripts and stuff. You don't really have to do it for this, but it's just a good thing to do. So that's inside of materials. Alright, so now we have our material. We have our cube of material. So now this is the game window. This is what the game will look like. This is the scene. This is like where you do your stuff. So the game window sees whatever this main camera sees. So let's just move this back and up a bit. Also, up here, this is the movement thing where you move it around. Rotation, scale. This is more for 2D stuff. It's just a drag it around. And then all 3 of them at the same time, I guess if you're in a real hurry. But I usually just keep it at this. You can also control it with like the QWERTY, Q, R, W, Q, W, E, R, T, and Y. But I usually just keep it at this one, because that's usually all I need. So let's just reset that. So now let's add buttons on the screen so that you can change what color. When you press it, it changes the color. So let's do that by going over to here, going down to UI. Well, first let's add a text. What it does is it adds a canvas, whatever you added, and then an event system. You don't need to worry about the event system yet. But the canvas will it's pretty big. So what you want to do is select the canvas, and then if you press F, and then also go to 2D, it will focus on it, so you can get to it fast. Hold the right mouse button to move around. Let's just rename this to choose and drag it up here. Make the size a bit bigger. If you hold Alt, it'll size from the middle. So you can do this. Just move right here. Let's change it to choose the color. can make the font size, you can change the font size by typing in a number, or you can just take this and drag it. So let's just make it like 100, I guess. And then alignment, so like left, middle, right. Just put it in the middle, then top, middle, down. Just keep it in the middle. So now if you go to the game window, it looks like this. Now there's the text right there. So whatever you put on the canvas will be over the screen, like if you wanted to add a health bar or something. So let's just change the text to white. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, so this is my first run through, so I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. So now let's add a button. So go down to UI, go down to button. Where's button? Let's call this blue button, and let's make it 200 by 200. Seems like a decent size. Let's bring it over here, and if you press this arrow right here, go down to the text that's inside of the button. Let's do blue, and you can bring the font size up. Let's just do like 75. And let's also like change the color of the button to blue. Just add a little something. Then change the text to white so you can see it a bit better. Now we can just duplicate this by pressing Control D and drag the new one over to here. And let's rename this. Let's do like a red button. Now let's change the color of it to red. And of course change the text to red. Whoops. Now looks like this, blue and red. Right now if you press play and you press the buttons, nothing happens because we haven't done anything to it. That is where scripts come in. So let's go to the canvas, press add component. You can either scroll down, press new script, and then call it whatever you want, or you can just type in the script name that you want and press enter, and it'll automatically put that as the name. Then you can press create and add. So now you'll have the script down here. Just put this into scripts. You can either open it by double clicking on it, or you can go to the canvas and just double click on this, and it'll open up your script. Alright, so this is what you get. Let's just delete these two top things because you don't need them yet. I'll explain this in a sec. You also don't need this. I'll just explain this part. You don't actually need it yet. So this is a function. In other programming languages, it's like says function, and then this is the name. So this is what it is. It's I don't know why it says void, but it does for some reason. By the way, this is C#. That's what programming language Unity usually uses. So it's a function, and then this is the name of the function, and then whatever's inside of these two curly brackets is the code that it holds. So it's basically just a thing that holds your code. Then whenever it's called, then whatever inside runs. And then Unity also has like some pre-made ones that do their own thing, like update. Update is called once per frame. This is a comment right here. It doesn't actually affect your code. It's just 2 slashes, and then you just type whatever you want, and it doesn't actually affect anything. So we don't actually need any of this. Alright, so let's just make a function for when you press each of these buttons. So let's call this let's call it blue press, So whenever we want the blue button to turn this cube blue. So first what you need to do is be able to like get to the cube. So let's make a public material, and let's just call it player mat material for short. So public puts it over to down here. You'll see that in a sec. Another way to do that is by doing serialized field, and then this is another way to do it, but I'm just going to use public because it's also easier. So this is the type of variable it is, and then this is just the name of the variable. You can call it whatever you want. Also, this is the name of this. You can call it whatever you want. So now if you press save, now what it's going to do is it's going to make this. So basically what this is so when the script doesn't know what you're talking about, if you just make a variable, all it knows that it's a material type, and it doesn't actually know what it is. So that's why it makes this. So then what you can do is you drag in what you want into it, like what you're talking about. So let's drag the material into it. So now when you talk about this player mat, now it knows that you're going to be talking about whatever is in here, which is our player material. So now, when we press the blue button, what we want to happen is for the player material dot color, and that's equal to color dot blue. So also in here you can see the different types of stuff. So let's just do blue. So we're gonna set the player material dot color to blue. Now let's just copy this and do the same thing, except let's do red, and also change this to red. So now if you press play, still nothing is going to happen because we haven't set the buttons to actually run these two functions. So how we do that is by we have to press the button and then on click, which is just whenever you click the button, this is just what you want it to do. So what you're going to want to do is bring down the object that has the script in it. So let's bring the canvas, bring it to here, go down to our script, and then choose the function that we want, which is blue press, because this is the blue button. Now let's just do the same for red. Let's bring down the canvas, go down to our script, do red press. Okay, so now if we press play, now when we press blue, it turns to blue. When we press red, it turns to red. So now you've made your first application. So next, let's just add text to say that you chose blue or you chose red for more learning. Let's do that in the next video.